Welcome back. This is the Sexy Cigar Lounge. I am your host at JW King, aka JJ. I got my brothers here, man. We got a real simp show tonight, man. Rocky, what's up, big bro?
What's up, man? It's good to be here, man. It's good to be hanging out with you guys, man. I'm uh this is a great topic you came up with, JJ. Why you in them streets when you got something good at home? Uh, you know, I don't know nothing about them streets, so y'all had to tell me about them cause I do got something good at home today. But no, this is a good topic, man.
For
Uh,
sure, man.
them streets that undermine a lot of good relationships over the years for some people, man. And let's deep dive and figure out why, man.
For sure. Hey, Brent, the El Capitan of the Sexy Cigar Lounge podcast. What's up, my brother?
What's up, man? We've been pushing out a lot of content this week. Clubhouse was on fire today. A lot of good topics. I like the new Clubhouse system where you can interchange topics throughout the day, man. We've been running with that. Had some fun in there. Good conversation. And I'm here to tell all the men that watch it, man. This is a show you need to watch, man. If you need, I mean, you got Rock, you got JJ, you got Drewski. I listen to these guys all the time, man, and they always dropping good wisdom. And one of the hardest things us men have problems with is relationships, man. And these are good brothers here to give you some good information on how to better structure yourself to maintain your relationships, man. So I think it's gonna be a good show, and I can't wait to get to it, man. Follow Sexy Cigar Lounge on all social media platforms.
For sure. Last but not least, little bro, Drew, what's happening?
Yo, what's good? What up, gang? What up, Brent, Rock, JJ? Hey, man, I second what Brent said, man. This is gonna be a good show tonight, man. Great topic, JJ. Um, Definitely, fellas, man. You get a chance if you can't watch it live, man. Go back and watch this after we record today. It's gonna be some valuable information on here for y'all. Make sure y'all following the channel. Click the bell for the notifications on all social media platforms. We are at the Sexy Cigar Lounge. All right, JJ, let's get to it.
Hey, man. Why are you in the streets when you got something good at home, man? Why are you in the streets when you got something good at home?
All right.
That's the age-old question, bro.
That
Why do
question,
we, why do we have something so good, so honest, so precious that we so much love, but gotta run around in the streets? What y'all think about that, man?
JJ. I know you were playing with the words, when coming up with this topic, but this topic is the make or break for so many men. You know what I mean? When the temptation is overcoming their true purpose in life. You know what I mean? And when they can't focus, a man is at his best when he can focus. If you're blessed enough to have a good woman in your life, you know, she there for a reason. She's there for you to focus. Focus on your legacy. Focus on your kids. Focus on your craft. You know what I mean? That's what she there for. But I know temptation calls a lot of brothers out. I think each one of us had that dilemma at some point in our life, and I mean it's a real battle that a lot of men are up against, and we struggle in that area, collectively.
Well,
What you
well
got to say about that? Well, go ahead, Rob.
no, I was just gonna say is, you know, going back to when I was young, you know, it almost seemed like back when I was young that being a married, committed in a relationship wasn't as exciting as my partners that was out there in the street living those lifestyles. You know what I mean? And it's almost like you have a fear of missing out as a man. You know, I think they got an acronym for it. We'll go about FOMO, fear of missing out. Yeah, fear of missing out. And I think what you end up missing out on has no real value. You know what I mean? And conversely, what you were talking about, Brent, building legacy, building, generational wealth, focusing on your family, focusing on your marriage. What you're building has tremendous value, when you're focusing on your marriage and your situation. So I think the fear of missing out creates a situation where men want to go out there and really do frivolous things, right? And then leave the things that really matter back at home. And that's unfortunate because it's hard to build anything out there in the street.
For sure. Drew, what you got, man? Before we really dive into this thing, bro, what you got?
I agree with Rock, man, and also let's throw in lack of discipline. Let's throw that in there. I think the streets, so for most of us, especially when we were young, the streets exciting, man. So much going on, and then think about today, man. You got so many different options versus, sticking it out with one woman, being with that one woman for the rest of your life. So I think a lot of dudes think about that because the future is unknown, you know what I'm saying? But you like, dang, the streets is the streets, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you get in a marriage or a relationship, you miss the streets. They be calling you. Are you going to pick up? You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it.
You're absolutely right, Brewski. I think, let me ask y'all this, guys. How, as young men, how do our values get so twisted to where we value being out there in the streets, living what you would consider the fast life or promiscuous life, and building legacy with one woman doesn't seem as appealing?
I think this, right? I mean, I'm sorry, I mean cut you off, but I think this is the most tempting time in history. You know what I mean? People often compare us to our grandfathers, our great grandfathers. You know what I mean? Our great grandfathers didn't wake up in the morning and turn on, their phone and all they see is women. Turn on the TV, all you see is women. Go on social media, all you see is women. And let's just be honest, we live in a day where these women are wearing almost anything outside. You know what I mean? So it's like that temptation is everywhere around you. You know what I mean? And I think that, at least compared to our grandfathers, I think, that wasn't available to them. You know what I mean? They had to, it was either Martha, who was their wife, or Bertha across town, who, maybe see them crossing and passing every now and then. You know what I mean? That was their only form of temptation.
Yeah. But you had to share Bertha with Lester. And you and Lester had to
but right, it wasn't as available as it is now. You know what I mean? It's all over the place. It's right in front of our face now. And I really do take my hat off to the men who are able to demonstrate the discipline Drewski was talking about each and every day. When it comes to the women they got at home, respecting them in that way. So. I mean, this is I would say one of the hardest times in history, man.
Hey, man, I'm gonna say this, bro. Goat said it the best, man. It's the hunt, man. A lot of guys just like to hunt. They don't really know why they like to hunt. You know what I'm saying? Because
I think they know why they like to hunt.
Well, I mean, we can call it. We can say they doing it for the coochie, but it really ain't for that, bro. It really, bro, like see, and I think that's where the world has gone wrong at, bro. everybody put so much emphasis on coochie, bro. Like, bro, coochie is not, to the point to where that's just the all out, be out everything, bro. Some dudes are just mentally bored, bro. They ain't got nothing else going on in their life. And boredom causes them to go out and do what it is that they do. We men, bro, we should be washing the cars. We should be cutting the grass. We should be painting the house. We should be doing things as men. But a lot of men these days are super lazy, bro. They super lazy. They pay somebody to do this. They pay somebody to do that. And that's why they get so bored, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is.
JJ, I think you're being too hard on these brothers, man. A man is gonna do two things in his whole entire life. He's gonna die and he's gonna get hard as hell. You know what I mean? Those two things, I promise you, he's gonna do. So I mean, it's in our natural human response to women that we're attracted to them. You know what I mean?
But when is enough is enough.
JJ, you know what? You speak as a man who has got to learn women from a close encounter most of your life. You don't seem like a brother who ever had problem getting the women. You know what I mean? Like, you're a good conversationist. I mean, you're successful. But most guys do have this problem. You know what I mean? A lot of guys do have this problem. And it's almost like the forbidden fruit. You don't know what you don't have or what you don't have access to. So that drives a man to chase it till his wits end, till he got no more money left, till he ain't got nowhere to go.
So it's about ego then.
Absolutely. Well, JJ, I'm not gonna say it's completely about ego, but that good feeling that you get at the end of your conquest is pretty damn awesome. If you're out there, I mean, a man relieving himself of his sexual desires, right?
To let one off.
Yeah. I'm being see JJ. I think Brent bring up a really good point, right? If you always have had access to something, then you never have been in a drought or a desperate situation. There are many men that their whole life is a drought. It's just one continuous drought after another.
But when is enough though? When is it to the point to where you settle down with this woman and you ain't got to go run and do all that no more because I would think a brother that ain't got those opportunities, you know what I'm saying, will find somebody that loves them for who they are.
I think that comes with maturity, JJ.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, it definitely comes.
When enough is enough.
So
it definitely comes with maturity because, like, the older you get, bro, you start prioritizing different things, and sex becomes on the bottom end of your list, right?
Absolutely.
So, I think when you're young, that's on your mind. You know what I'm saying? When I know when I was in my 20s, shit, that shit was on my mind all the fucking time. And I'm not saying it's not on my mind now.
And that's the thing, Drew. I'm not talking about a young man.
But JJ,
I'm talking about a man that has something good at home.
But you build your JJ, you build your habits as a young man. Like, again, I think so. So let's just go through this cycle. If a man spends his 20s running the street, running himself ragged, right? Either he gonna get tired, or he gonna be like a lot of these men out here in the street. They still running themselves ragged well into their 30s and up into their 40s because they don't know anything else. If you don't know how to be in a committed relationship, if you haven't practiced that, I don't see how you could just master that without being in one. Like
I just said that though, Rocky. I just said these dudes are bored out here. They don't use their mind for nothing else.
Oh, well.
They don't use their mind constructively to build anything other than chasing women.
You know, and that's what I'm saying, JJ. You're speaking as a guy who has been able to satisfy that temptation so many times in his life that now you're able to, like you ever heard a basketball player say at one point in the game he just got in the zone. You know what I mean? Where he only seen the basket. No one else was on the court. No one could stop him. That's kind of like the to me the dimension you have reached. But a lot of men can't get to that point unless they don't learn the valuable lesson of chasing women. Just doesn't provide you that validation. It's almost like, we have to experience it to get the lesson. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of men find themselves in that position. Well, and there's so many of us, JJ, so many men who done lost their families, who done lost everything they had, and they reflect and saying, man, if I could have just stayed home that one night, if I could have just, but like I said, JJ, men are going to do two things in their lifetime. Every man's going to do this. I don't care what age you die at as a man, you're going to do this. One is you're going to die. The other one is you're going to get hard. You know what I mean? And I think it's a biological instinct in men that's triggered whenever they're around a woman that they're attracted to. So for some men, JJ, they can't exercise the discipline it takes to remove themselves from that situation.
I mean, that's true. I can speak for myself. I call it relationship mode. I feel like I got to a point where I know how to turn it on and off, right? So when I'm single, streets is my playground. But when I come across a woman that sparks my interest and I want to pursue her, then the street mode of me has completely turned off, and I'm focused on this young lady. So that's just me. Everybody hasn't mastered that, but I think for you to be able to master that type of mentality or maturity, you got to sit with yourself because you got to know what you really want. And sometimes it's okay to be single, and even if you in the streets, you ain't really got to be in the streets, if that makes sense, right? Like you can be out there, but you ain't really got to be participating. You can be out there being a spectator, right? See what's going on, and you kind of can maneuver that way and say, okay, I like this, but I don't like that, right? And then you're gonna come across a woman, and I always say this. My pops even told me this, bro. You're gonna come across a woman one day that's gonna change your mind on everything you ever thought about, everything you ever been taught, everything you ever seen. She's just gonna change your views on relationships, marriage, kids, all that shit. And I think most of us probably have come across a woman like that at some point in our life. So I think it's all of it's situational, to be honest with you. It just depends. I really do think it starts with the maturity level too.
So I agree with you, Drew. There are select men that will come across a remarkable woman, and that remarkable woman will inspire greatness within them, right? But what about those guys who just come across regular women or just average women, right? Those guys have to somehow see the value in relationship and to see the value in commitment and to see the value in building family. Does it have to be with a remarkable woman in order for you to get your shit together?
I don't think it got to be a remarkable woman. I just think, man, at some point you got to look at what's going on in your life and be like, I got to get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Having my daughter changed everything. And I know it was out of order, but having my daughter changed everything for me. I remember I was out here being silly, being wild, doing all types of stuff. But when I had my daughter, it was like, dang, man, I got somebody else to be responsible for. So I got to move in a different direction. So my whole demeanor changed. You know what I'm saying? That was just me. Other people don't, it don't have to necessarily be a kid. It could be a heartbreak that a heartbreak that you took the time to really heal from, and you focus that hurt that you dealt with during that heartbreak on starting a business, going to the gym, like just revamping your whole self. And when you do that, you attract a different caliber of female. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely just depends on the situation for most guys. Some guys just in that mentality where they just want to be in the streets, bro. And no matter what, they can have a girl that'll come along and help them get their credit together, you know, help them do this, help them do that, and they still just want to be a part of the streets. And for that, I don't have no answer for it. I can't even answer that for you.
But see what that's my point. Like, I really think that because when I was out here, when I was younger, I was out here, I was hell in these streets. But my conscience always told me something different. That's the reason why I ain't got a bunch of women with my children running around here. Because I always kept a conscience of things, and my morals and beliefs always set in at some point. You know what I'm saying? I read a quote that said, and we're gonna run this. We're gonna run this in the room tomorrow. A weak man is always on the hunt for women. A weak man.
Hey, I love that.
They rocked him with the doorbell.
JJ, I think you're absolutely right, JJ. And I think you had the pleasure of growing up with a father and seeing your mom and dad instill a certain level of confidence in you that most men tend not to have when they're not coming from a similar situation. And I would say this much too, JJ. You know, I understand the dynamic in a lot of homes today where there's single mothers raising a son, you know what I mean, sending him out there. But there's something that happens in there, you know what I mean, that please don't beat me up, single moms. But you see this a lot coming from that type of situation where the son, you know, because he has this love, this dog like loyalty to his mom, and this love and affection for his mom, he starts to penalize all women that he encountered. You know what I mean? Like every woman he encounters, he put her on a pedestal. You know what I mean? JJ, a man coming from a home that had a father that instilled a confidence in him, he doesn't have the issues of confidence. He knows he's worth it. He knows he knows he's a good catch. He knows that no woman is above him. But a lot of men who are raised in single parent homes, I think that that's the idea that they lead with. So anytime a woman extends her hand to
Tread
him,
lightly, my guy. Tread
right?
lightly.
Anytime a woman extends her hand to him or gives him some type of affection, it's almost like he has to take it because you know he's you know he's just vulnerable to women.
So you making him sound like he's powerless against women, right?
And look, man, you know, shouts out to single moms or whatever case may be, but I think that's the effect that happens to a lot of boys growing up under their moms and don't have that male role model around, don't have that male presence around. I know that sounds shitty to say, but I just see it. I see it. I observe it. You know, I've been through it. You know what I mean? So I kind of get it. You know, so I mean, it's like if you see if you see certain men, you know what I mean, with how they deal with women, you know what I mean, and they deal with a woman that's not in a calm way, or you know, if they're you know if they're constantly having issues with women, you know what I mean. I think that if you drill down into that situation, you'll see it's probably the stem of that is the relationship him and his mom had, and maybe he didn't have any male presence around, no father presence around, and now he doesn't present himself right to the women that he crossed. You know what I mean?
So let me get this straight. So you saying And I know what you're saying, but for the crowd, because we got a bunch of people watching the show right now. We got a bunch of y'all. Go over to the Sexy Cigar Lounge on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. But Brent, so what you're saying right now is this guy that you're talking about, right? He falls in love easily, but he don't know how to keep a relationship. So he keeps going. He keeps jumping from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman.
Right, and you know, like I said, I think it's partly due to him not having a male role model in his life, someone that he could sit up and watch as a child how they interact with women. You know what I mean? He only dealt with a woman at a like subservient level. You know what I mean? Because you know, when you're a child, you know your mom tell you do something, you better do it. You know, you better not talk back to her. You know what I mean? You better not do this. So I think he's programmed to feel like he doesn't have like I don't know, like he just he struggles with interactions when it comes to women. You know what I mean? And I think it's a lot of it's due to he sees his mother in every woman. You know what I mean? Like he has to if he can't please them, he run away. You know what I mean? He go find another one he can please. You know what I mean?
I think I'm kind of confused by that because I think that the guy that you're talking about don't know how to be in a relationship, a healthy relationship with a woman. She's only there to serve him, right? Is that what you said?
I mean, JJ, you presented another dynamic to it, but I also think that makes a lot of sense.
It
You know
does.
what I mean?
That's why I'm trying to clear it up because I get what you're saying with that because we know people like that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, no matter what you tell these people, they're going to look at it their way. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know how to be productive and have a cohesive relationship with a woman other than if she's doing something to serve him.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I feel like that's the angle that I feel like what you're talking about, right?
Right.
And that's the opposite for the woman that really didn't have a dad or a male figure around or a positive male influence around. Usually they run into men and they throw themselves at the men, but don't know how to have a cohesive relationship. And goddamn, we got a bunch of damn watchers right now. Shit, where y'all come from? But go over to the YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. But I mean, is that the same thing, fellas, for the women too? If they don't have a positive male figure in their life, they usually you usually know that their dad wasn't there because I think Drewski said the other day, a lot of women, you know, a lot of guys were targeting women that didn't have a dad in their life. And he said that, I was like, damn, that's messed up. But then I remember back in the day, it was a lot of women that I went to school with that didn't have a dad in life, and the mama was busy or trying to live their best life, and those were the ones that we would go over to their house
Going to their house, yeah.
We wanted to do with them.
That be the real aggressive ones, right? Those be the ones that, you know, when that dad not there, right? Those be the chicks that be the easiest for you to hook up with. You ain't really gotta do too much. You ain't gotta impress them too much because it's like anything you do, because they ain't seen that positive male role model. They haven't had a father to, you know, show them what real love is. Any little thing you say or do, bruh, gonna get you in it. You know what I'm saying? You can buy them roadside Valentine's Day gift and they cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
What's wrong with roadside Valentine's Day
Man,
gift.
nah, that's not the move, Rock. We too old for that shit.
You know, I just think that when you talk about the woman dynamic, the woman who leaves the home without that male role model, without that father, I think that woman is just, she doesn't have the capacity to know the boundaries she needs to set up. You know what I mean? And she, she, like Drewski said, she allows any guy in, and whatever level of affection he's willing to give to her, she just, multiplies. She just, it just expounds in her heart, what I mean, to so much more than what was actually given to her. She doesn't really seek protection because she never really felt protection before. She doesn't know how I feel to be protected. I mean, she don't know how I feel to, when a guy is speaking to her in a manner he shouldn't speak to her in. What I mean? She doesn't know when that he's done crossed that boundary. You know what I mean? She's never seen this the dynamic before between a man and a woman. So everything to her is like the first teaching of it when when that new guy comes in. You know what I mean? And she's like, okay, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. And she just rolls with it. And then y'all know how boundaries work. Once you cross one boundary, you cross the next one, you cross the next one. It's a domino effect. You know what I mean? Until you barely can survive and you gotta get the hell out of there.
And,
So
and Brett, those type of people run into good people all the time, and they have great people in their lives that genuinely love them, but they don't know how to keep that healthy. They don't know how to keep that relationship healthy, so they they pretty much sabotage it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, when does it end? When does it? When does this whole marathon end?
I think
You
it's
feel what
on.
I'm saying?
I think it's on the person. It's like somebody doing drugs, right? Somebody doing drugs for years. We can encourage them, do interventions and all that shit, but if they don't want to make the change, they gonna keep doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it when it comes to like stuff like this. But I did want to speak to what Brent was saying about like boys growing up in single family homes. I know I did, and I can say this: like one thing I learned getting older, that with my father not being there, is that I had a lot of trust issues. And it's weird when I think about it now because it's like my mom was there, so I shouldn't have trust issues with women, right? But I think it just affects relationships, period. You know what I'm saying? You ain't really willing to trust people. And when people, when you get in a situation and it's too good to be true, you kind of like self-sabotage a little bit because you kind of feel like Brent said, that confidence not there that your dad would give you, right? When it comes to dealing with women. You don't have that confidence, so you let me end this now before, you know what I'm saying, she break my heart or whatever. And so I had to go through different situations with relationships for me to build my own confidence. And then I had brothers, my friends who became my brothers who also, you know what I'm saying, helped me with that too. Like, bro, oh nigga, like you 6'5", bro. You get any chick you want. And I'm like, dog, nah, I ain't tripping off that. But when I started like paying attention to different little things and even just my own personality, I started seeing that stuff and that built confidence too. Cause it's like, bro, I don't really, I ain't saying I'm a baller out here, got a whole bunch of money, this, that, and the third, but I just know all my personality alone, I probably can bag any chick I want, to be honest with you. And that's not being cocky. That's just me being real in my own, you know what I'm saying, my own abilities or whatever. But I do feel like when you come from a single family home, especially young boys, man, you kind of at a disadvantage when you get out here and you start dating because you don't have that male figure to show you, you know what I'm saying, to put you on game when it comes to female. All of us probably had an uncle or JJ, your dad probably put you on game when it came to ladies, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of already knew what it was when you got out there and started dating. But some guys don't have that.
But Drew Scott, I want to give a shout out to Tisha, man. She stated, what if they come from a both parent household and they still go out and make bad decisions. I think some of them are just immature, teachers. Just to be honest with you, and you know, some people just don't listen. Some people just don't listen. You know what I'm saying? Some people, you know what I'm saying, just go out and test these waters because they feel like they can. You know what I'm saying? So, but those people probably at, at some point in time may grow up, you know what I'm saying, and learn their lesson. But they probably gonna screw over a bunch of people before they get to that point though.
Yeah, I just think when you talk about the dynamic of how someone grows up, it profoundly impact how they do everything, right? And so those women, and you take a woman who doesn't have a strong male role model in her life, she's gonna go out and seek that from the world. And when she goes out and seeks that, it may be healthy, it may not. She's kind of making it up on her own. She's kind of painting her own, what a relationship looks like on her own canvas, right? And the same thing for a man. Now, the situation where when Brent was talking about a man that grows up in a single parent home raised by his mother, that dynamic is critical, and it relates to how in relationship to what kind of woman his mother is. Let me give you an example. If your mother is a woman who is, domineering and authoritative and tells you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, whatever, and you don't have a father to balance that, or have a father in your life to try to kind of balance that, you may go out here looking through life, looking for a woman who can mimic that behavior, because a woman domineering or telling you what to do and how to do it and when to do it, you may see that as love. At the same time, you're not developing as a competent man. You're learning how to please women by doing what they say do, but you're not developing as a competent man. And at the end of the day, I don't care how you go in the relationship as a man. At some point, each and every woman is going to have to depend on that man, and she wants to depend on a competent man. So she's going to go the pushover, the simp, the incompetent guy. He may be fine in the beginning, but at some point, she's going to need a real man. And if he hadn't been prepared for that, and he can't deliver, he's going to be, he's going to be cast away, because she's going to be disappointed that he can't deliver. And that disappointment may be too much for him to take. And he may just end up moving on to the next woman that he's going to disappoint. I think that there's a other dynamic too that I want to bring up. If you're a mother who the mother is seeking attention of other men more than she is paying attention to her son, that dynamic right there creates a damaged young boy. And he's going to be out there seeking the affection of any woman that will pay attention to him. And he may end up in a situation where he chooses quantity over quality. So mothers out there, it's very important that you give your son the adequate attention, and you set the right kind of role model as a mother, that you're not overly consumed with trying to find you a mate while you're not applying enough attention to your child. That happens. I see that all the time, and it creates a damaged young man. Both of those situations, in my opinion, end up
And
creating
Rock, Rock,
damaged young men.
I throw one more dynamic out there, Rock. The mother who screams, yells, physically discipline her son, In some situations where it's not necessary or it's not needed. I think this guy is the one. When he goes out and seek women, he is a very how can I say um it's
He's
a
an
it's a,
abused,
it's a
he's an abused child.
right, and that, and like the other examples you point out, that is going to reflect in the relationship he has with women, because to him love is yelling, screaming, throwing shit, punching, whatever the case may be. That is how love is demonstrated for that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I it was an old saying that said, that basically gave women the blueprint on, like, if you want to see how God be with you, see how he treats his mother. I definitely think women should examine that dynamic before going in deeper with
And
with,
I
with,
and
uh,
I'm a,
with
and I'm gonna go one more person. I'm gonna go with one more dynamic that creates a problem with a man dating. Y'all may or may not agree with it. The women may or may not agree with it. The women who raised them sons, and you spoke to it just a little bit, Brent, who raised their sons to be the man they always wanted, and they insist on fierce, undeniable loyalty from that son, to the point to where it's hard for him to even establish meaningful relationships with other women, because that mother is ever present, dictating what he should and should not do with his life, and more importantly, with other women.
I agree with that.
Facts.
That's a huge dynamic. That
But
that and mothers, even more so than fathers, I've seen where very successful mothers will use their power and influence and their economic wealth to coddle and what they call it, coddle and control their sons, to the point to where it stunts their growth as a man. You know what I mean? They'll go end up providing things that a man should be able to provide.
Hey man,
Amen.
shout out to Miranda, man. She made a good point. Some men just you know what I'm saying, when they were little boys, they never had respect for their mom because of what their mom was doing. And therefore they grow up with this mentality of how they view women. You see what I'm saying? And that's that's a real gem she just dropped, man.
Yeah, because you think about, I'm gonna put this out there, because I was listening to a podcast, and it was a black dude. He was a serial killer, right? But he only killed prostitutes. And when they interviewed him and kind of talked to him about why he did what he did, killed prostitute because his mom was a prostitute, and he was in the house when guys would come in and out, do their business and dip. So like JJ said, he built up a resentment towards his mother. So when he got older, he started killing women that were like his mom. They were prostitutes. That's all he killed, was prostitutes. But where he lived at, nobody thought that a black man could be a serial killer. So they looking for a white man. When they found out it was a black man, they were really surprised. But you're right, like the way you raise and how that home dynamic is can severely affect how you interact in any type of relationship. It don't even have to be a romantic relationship. It could just be relationships with people in general. You know what I'm saying? Your friends, co-workers, and all that stuff. All of that plays a big part in how you are as a person. And I do think people get to a point where they have to do their due diligence to kind of figure out, like, dang, why am I like this? You know what I'm saying? And that's what, like, therapy come into place, or even if you sit down and have a conversation with your mother when you get older, and kind of start dissecting your childhood, you know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of times as kids, we don't say stuff to our parents because they are our parents. You know what I'm saying? If your mother was doing certain things to you, not gonna say that, but when you get older, you can have that conversation with your mother if y'all had that type of relationship. And like, yo, why did you do this or why did you do that? And instead of going out here, you should have that conversation with your mother instead of going out here and, you know, projecting your feelings towards what happened to you when you was a kid onto other women. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's kind of weird, but, you know, it's like that.
Someone's, you know, just a hit on the point again when someone brought up that a lot of men don't respect their mothers because they were single. You know, let's just think about it. A mother who has a single mother who has one or two children, you know, maybe more, you know what I mean? Her life doesn't stop, you know, when it comes to romance. So what that boy will watch is maybe her mom bring in certain men, and he didn't like the boy. Like, you know, women got to understand. Parents, we got to understand. Our kids learn by observing us. You know what I mean? Not us telling them behind, you know, and you know while they sitting down, hey, you better not do this. They learn by observing us. You know, so I think that, you know, a lot of people, a lot of, you know, single mothers probably didn't realize their son was observing them as they were in these relationship with these men that they were bringing in, and some situations which were a challenge, in which mom probably testing this guy to see if she really loves him or loves her or not. Maybe she's doing it in the wrong way. You know, maybe, you know, it won't seem right to a child, but he's seeing this man lead their life because mom didn't like something about him that he couldn't really understand. That the guy was nice to him. You know, the guy came around him and was courteous to him. You know what I mean? So he can't understand why mom just, you know, kicked that guy to the curb. Now mom's kicked 2 guys to the curb, 3 guys to the curb, 4 guys to the curb, in this man's in this little boy's whole life. You know, now he what's done happened to him is he done built this disdain up for women that, you know, no matter what you do, they're not gonna love you. You know what I mean? They're not gonna want to deal with you. They're not gonna give you second chances. You know what I mean? I seen how my mom did Mr. Tom. I seen how my mom did this guy. They're relentless. You know what I mean? So why should I play by any different rules than what they're playing by? So when I go out there, I'm smashing. You know what I mean? I give a damn how they feel. You know what I'm saying? It's like they have this whole disdain against women because they seen their moms maybe discard man after man after man, and they didn't really understand it. You know?
And not just that though, Brent. What about the ones with the dads that still trying to be a player, and they put little man in the back seat, and they go goddamn visit 4 or 5 women every time little man with them, and little man looking at every woman and how his dad is interacting with these women. You know what I'm saying? That he's around or she's around. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's a great father. He's a great father, but he's showing his kids bad habits by going around, you know what I'm saying, visiting you know what I'm saying, Mercedes and Japonica and Tiffany and Shonda
and Patrinacy.
you know, and in his mind, he's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? My dad was a player. I want to be a player too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now he don't know what love is. He or she don't know what love is because of the examples that they have been given growing up, seeing how their dad or their mom was, and how to love a person in order to be able to be, you know what I'm saying? You know, this solid person in a relationship.
You know, JJ, as you say that, the best gift you can give your child is a solid example of how to live life, right? And what I mean by that, you know, you show them, You don't tell them how to treat people. You show them how to treat people. You don't tell them what they should value and honor. You show them what they should value and honor. And that is something that I benefited from as a son, and that's something that I took to heart after having a conversation with my mentor about being a good example for my sons, regardless of sons and daughters for that matter. Regardless of what happens to me, always be willing to set a good example and don't do anything in the eyesight of or outside the eyesight of your children that you will later be ashamed of. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
the best thing you can do. And so a lot of people don't get that, man. A lot of people think they can do one thing in front of their kids and do things and other things outside of your kids' eyesight. I'm gonna tell you this: if your kids live with you, you can fool all the people in the world. But the people that live with you know exactly who you are.
Hey, can I say one thing, man? When we talk about single parents, man, I wanna say this, man. My mom passed away 2 years ago. And one thing I can say I appreciated growing up was my mom was always honest, bro. And when I say she was brutally honest, everything she ever did in her life, bro, me and my sister know about it. It never was no secrets or none of that. And I can tell you this, my mom only had one boyfriend. And when I got old, I asked her why she never dated. Was it because of me and my sister? And she said, yeah. When I had y'all, when she divorced my sister daddy, she said, man, I told myself, my kids are my number one priority. I don't even care about dating. That's not even on the menu for me. It's making sure I got a good job, I got a house for these kids to have, and making sure that I raise them to be productive people when they get older, to instill those morals and values in them, right? Because I was like, dang, Mom, you could have dated. Like, I don't think we would have had a problem with it. But she said, nah, that's not where her mind was at. And I think it takes certain people. That ain't everybody, but certain people are like that. You know, certain moms like that. So I was reading the chat, and a lot of people were saying, like, parents got to be honest, and you do. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I learned from my mom, and I'm able to be honest with my kids about certain decisions that I made in my life. And you know, I tell them all the time, man, the biggest thing for me as a dad, right, is to raise y'all to be better than I was. You know what I'm saying? To do better, to make better decisions than I did. You know what I'm saying? So it's vitally important from this conversation and us talking that both parents have to be there, even if they're not together. Both parents play a vital role, a big role in the development of their kids. And I think we all need to, as a community, right, as the Black community, we all need to start seeing that and start doing it, to put our differences aside and get out of your feelings and put your kids first. If you're not in a marriage or in a good co-parenting relationship, that the kids are more important. That they upbringing is important, and you're gonna keep having this vicious cycle of people doing the same stuff that we see each and every day.
Hey, but Drew, I'm gonna just say this for the realistic approach though. If a person don't have that other person in their life, just be a great example to your children. You know what I'm saying? Show them love, have balance in their life, and teach them, you know what I'm saying, to be better than you. And that, because that's the reality of it, bro. A lot of people just don't have it. A lot of people just don't have that other person. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that don't have that other person there uh, to help in raising their children. And I would just say, man, just keep on being strong. Keep on teaching your sons and daughters the morals. You know, don't come off as bitter. Don't come off as mad. You know what I'm saying? Always speak positivity into their life because those words, bro. I mean, man, I know some folks that really hate their baby mamas and baby daddies, bro. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. You know, but at the same time, you gotta always understand that these kids that you talking negative around, they're gonna grow up to be adults soon. And you know what I'm saying? Just like that, they dating, they dating. Just like that, they getting hurt by somebody. What you gonna do when they come to you for advice? My dad always told me, you know, me and my brother, he always said, man, I ain't raised y'all like that. That's the biggest thing. I ain't raised y'all like that. You know, you know, and those words, man, are so small, but they always set in. You know what I'm saying? So, but I agree with you though, Drew. I mean, in a perfect world, man, it should be like that. But reality is, bro, a lot of these people just ain't doing right by their children. You know what I'm saying? So the person that's with those kids, make sure that you speak life into their little brains to where they grow up and don't hate the opposite sex, or you know they making wrong decisions based off of their upbringing. You feel what I'm saying? Damn, bro, where my bell at? Shit, did I just drop a damn jewel or what? He's so
You know,
full.
JJ, but I don't want people to think because you wasn't raised in the best situation, because you maybe grew up in a single parent household, that you know you just doomed. There's no chance out there for you. I think I think that when it when it comes into our consciousness that some of the things we were taught and observed while growing up, even by the ones that's close to us, when it comes to our consciousness that maybe wasn't the right way, it now becomes our responsibility as adults to find the right way. And you seek out, and you got to allow yourself to have courage to be open to unfamiliar things, such as real love, such as real care, real attentiveness. You know what I mean? You got to allow yourself, you know, I think a lot of people who find themselves in a constant cycle of, you know, bad relationship after bad relationship, and you know, either cheating on their mate, or you know, just toxic relationships. Usually, that person hasn't demonstrated the courage to try to feel something different. You know what I mean? I know how different it could feel to a lot of people. It could feel, you know, funny. It could feel odd. You don't know why this you don't know why this person is you don't know why this person is being so attentive to you, and trying to treat you right and being kind to you. You know what I mean? But that's when you gotta have some insight and say, you know what, what I seen growing up, what I seen displayed to me wasn't the right way. So I gotta create the right way myself, and that's gonna take a lot of work on my part. So you know, I just don't want to like leave people hopeless. Like you, if you ain't grow up in the right environment, that you know you have no chance at love, because you do. You know, it's just it maybe requires a lot of work on your part.
For sure, man. I was just trying to figure out what Rock was doing. You know, I didn't know if he was, you know what I'm saying, really listening to what you said, or he just thought he was cute just a second ago. But
No, I was listening, man. It was really you know, hitting home with me because like you say, nobody's brought up in the perfect situation whatsoever. You know what I mean? But you can overcome your circumstances, right? Can overcome the fact if you did have a overbearing mother, or if you were neglected by your father. You can overcome that. You just look that situation in the face and acknowledge it, and do what's necessary to, seek out healthy examples of how to manage and maintain a relationship, man. I mean, too many people, and this may be a little off the subject, but too many people want relationships in the manner in which they want them. You know what I mean? Rather than looking for the healthy option, I've heard both men and women say, "I want a man who doesn't have any outside distractions. They don't need any. My man don't need any women friends. My woman don't need any male friends. You know what I mean? Like they want to have such a confining relationship just so they can be safe in the relationship. They have to look at that in practicality and say, am I trying to create a prison for my mate so I can feel safe? Is that actually healthy to have a relationship where I cannot interact with the opposite, where I can't interact with the opposite sex and neither can my husband? We have to look at what's healthy, not what makes us feel comfortable. And so that's what we have to look at, because too many people want things just on those terms, and I don't think if you done got to be 35, almost 40, and you can't find them on your terms, you may want to consider other terms to find love on.
Facts, man. Hey, man, this topic really just came right before the show, man. But I think it was one of the most serious topics we done had in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Before we wrap this thing up, I just wanted to get everybody last minute thoughts on the topic, man, before we wrap it up, man. I also want to tell everybody, if you haven't already, please go over to the Cigar Lounge on YouTube and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. But Drew, what you got for your last minute comment?
I mean, speaking to the title, man, I feel like if you still got it in your system or in your mind to be in the streets, ain't no way you should be trying to be in a committed relationship, bro. You setting yourself up for failure, to be honest. It take a lot of discipline, a lot of commitment to be in a committed relationship, to be in a marriage. So if you got one foot in and one foot out, you might as well just stay in the streets, or at least on the porch. You know what I'm saying? As far as when we talk about parenting and all of those things, man, I agree with JJ 100%, man. If whatever your reality is, man, you need to be the best person you can be in your life, because your kids are always watching. And I think a lot of times we lose sight of that we don't think kids are watching because they are kids, but they definitely paying attention. So I mean, that's all I really got to say. Make sure y'all subscribe. All y'all people out there, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe to the channel, man. Click that bell for notifications. We definitely coming with some of the best content, I feel like, on YouTube. So check us out, man. Right, JJ.
Hey, man, appreciate it, bro. Rocky, since you long with it, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go.
Nah, man, I want to thank you guys for having me on the podcast once again. I want you, please go to YouTube and find the Sexy Cigar Lounge and like and subscribe. We're growing exponentially, and I want to, thank all the listeners and followers who have joined up to this point. We're doing big things. I want to continue that. I just also want to say, with final thoughts is that, it's funny how we were talking about, being in the streets and you have something good at home, and it kind of ventured back to a person's childhood and how, we should behave and comport ourselves around our children. And that's one of the realest conversations we ever had, in that what's at home usually is your children, your legacy, your family. Where you can make the most impact in this world is with your family. And so that's the good thing that's at home, is your family. what's out in those streets, whatever it is, it won't last, man. So take care of home, and those streets will take care of themselves.
Hey, Rocket, you want to plug your businesses, my guy?
Oh yeah, man. If you need to get this is a great time to get your taxes done by Prosperity Tax Service. Go to prosperitytaxservice.com. prosperitytax.com and get your refund started today. Set an appointment, and let us do the rest.
So I guess your wife had to get
Yeah.
It's McDowell's, not McDonald's. McDowell's.
Hey, I don't know if Rock on that order tonight or what, but go ahead, Brent. What you got, bro?
Somebody said it was the hookah.
I think this was an absolutely great show, man, and I'm blessed to share it with you, brothers. You know, it took me to learn the hard way, man, that you have to value the relationships around you. It and if you don't, it tends to it tends to twinkle down into in your life, in the goals you have for yourself, when you don't value the relationships around you. And if you're blessed enough to find a woman who's willing to go through the ins and outs of life with you, you have a good thing. It even says that in the Bible. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing. You know what I mean? And it has been my experience when I did, whenever, I'll put it this way, some of the goodest things that ever happened to me in my life when I had a woman that anchored me down, you know what I mean, kept me focused. I avoided distractions. I was able to laser focus on my goals with no, temptation or, hesitation or, anything distracting me, you know what I mean? So I really encourage a man to when find that woman who's gonna stick by you, by your side, and just laser focus on your goals, you know what I mean, and you'll see a lot of you'll find that things that you thought was not possible starts to become more possible. You'll see challenges that you thought you would face not be so challenging. You know what I mean? Things just tend to work out when you're displaying that energy, where you're just respecting your relationships, you're owning up to your commitments and stuff like that. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But man, great show, man. Follow 60 Cigar Lounge on all social media platforms. I'm saying Score Brand. Back to you, JJ.
Hey, man, I'm gonna send a shout out to all of our subscribers, man, especially our Clubhouse family. What up? Thank you for joining in. Shout out to Slow Burn Waco. I see Rock ain't shout that out, but if you're looking for some nice cigars, you know what I'm saying, some upscale cigars at a great cost, Slow Burn Waco. Please go to Slow Burn Waco. Use the coupon code at JW King, or use the other coupon code, uh, the Sexy Cigar Lounge. You know what I'm saying? And Rock gonna hook you up, man. For sure, man. This was one of those things that we thought of, man, and I think that it was a great show. I appreciate you guys for coming on, man, and stay tuned for the next show. Peace.